but if there was something that I get proven time and again in equal frequency, that's also a sales tactic, is never speak while people are tasting a wine for the first time. Don't do it. Don't do it. And the reason is, and again, I guess I'm a storyteller, so I will tell my story of why. Because I had been told this, not as like a, ooh, don't do this, sales tactic. But it was something that I was recommended to do. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, get in the pitch before they taste. When they taste, just stop and then pick it up afterward, right? And I was like, okay, like that's what you do. Great. And I had a moment where it actually happened to me, and I was like, oh, that's why this happens. And it was one of the very few experiences that I've been fortunate enough. I mean, our trade is so generous and gracious, and the people in it can be incredibly kind and generous with their seller, or sometimes a restaurant owner with, whatever bottles they have kicking around.
Yeah.
And years and years and years ago, I had the opportunity for my first taste of DRC. And I was losing my mind. Like, it was kind of this whole built up thing all day. It was at a festival, and it was like, oh yeah, said restaurant is hosting a DRC dinner. And I'm like, what? They're hosting a DRC
Oh my God. How long ago was this?
This is long. And, and so, they're like, yeah, if there's any left over, maybe, we'll try and save some.
We'll give you the scraps.
Yeah. And the supplier had very generously, I think probably planned for like a corked bottle, and there wasn't any. So now there's this full bottle of H2O that's just there.
Oh.
And it was like, holy shit. Okay. And so now you've got like, I think there was comfortably 20 of us in, packed into.
You get an ounce.
Packed into like the weigh station or something.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting an ounce, or like whatever it was. And I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like this is like this mystical, historical whale of a wine.
It's a dream.
It's a dream. Like, yeah. It's definitely, a lot of people who have been telling me about their dreams for many years and all the things. And so I'm like, holy shit, the day has come. Oh my God. I'm like nervous. And so, we're all kind of packed into this area. And so, the wine started to get poured around, and I was kind of toward the middle of the pack in where my pouring was meant to be, where my ounce was getting delegated. And I get, I have it in the glass, and I'm just like staring at it. I'm like, oh my God, it's here. It's the Holy Grail.
Your hand's shaking.
And a little bit. Yeah, I was a little nervous. And, cause I was just like also at the same time calculating, like, once I have this ounce in my body, how much more does my actual body cost for like the hours that this ounce is in my body?
Yeah.
Like one of those moments.
Yeah.
And so I'm, starting to smell it, and before I even get to taste, everyone is already starting to rip it apart. And
badmouth it.
It's not even bad mouthing, but what I mean by rip apart is compare it to ...
Yes.
Oh, well, this is great, but the whatever vintage I had, and start rattling off all this stuff, and they're all talking about how whatever it was that they'd had previously from this producer, DRC, was better than whatever, and like and they're just kind of not shredding it because it was bad, but putting their influence of their past experience onto the wine before most of us, at least half of us, got to taste it.
Yeah.
And it completely, I mean, not ruined my experience, but deeply impacted it. Oh. I promptly was just so distracted. I was like, dude, it's kind of like someone talking over someone who's trying to introduce themselves to you for the first time.
Right.
You get a first impression once.
Right.
And they were ruining this person's first impression that was in my glass. And so I promptly walked out of the wait station, through the kitchen, through the dish pit, picked up a clean enough bucket, flipped it upside down, walked out to the back, and in the back of the restaurant had some quiet and a moment to myself with this DRC that, took years for me to have another ounce of.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because again, it's this unicorn thing that there's only so much in the world, and only so many people who are willing to share it with you,
Yeah.
And that was something that I was like, that's why you don't talk while people are
fascinating.
tasting. It totally wrecks it.
Right.